Alright, so I'm back, and today I'm going to do a rant of the week. And in this rant of the week, because, we've been talking a lot about Combine Wars and their fails as figures lately. And it's gotten me to the point of, well, you know what? Fine. I'm going to do a video on how I would have done it. And now, for this video, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, make Abominus, make Predaking, make Devastator, make Bruticus. That's stupid. I'm going to put myself in the same kind of restrictions that Hasbro has on these figures and ways I would have made them work out a little bit better. I think. My opinion. It's all my opinion. So, first off, leader class figures. Megatron, awesome, cool. Then you should have done Thundercracker. Actually, you should have done Starscream first. I'm sorry, Starscream. Okay, Megatron and Starscream. First off, those should have been the two first leader class figures because it's harder for a company to retool that figure and release it out in the same wave. So I would understand if they said, okay, we're doing these two instead of doing the same mold twice. Okay, so we get those two. Then, later on down the lane, do the Ultra Magnus and Thundercracker. And then later on, you could do the Skyward and the Armada Megatron. So there you would have them broken out a little bit more. You would have the Seekers a lot quicker because you get one right off the first wave. And, it's not, you're not rushing development on certain things. You can take a little bit more time and it's just a little bit spread out a little bit better, I think. My opinion. There you go. Now, Wave 1 for the Combiner Wars. As you know, it came with Alpha Bravo and the aerial bots, minus Slingshot and minus Air Raid, and instead it came with Drag Strip. So I would say let's make Wave 1 the aerial bots, and instead of doing Alpha Bravo, we'll save that mold for later and put Slingshot in there. Okay, so now we got Slingshot, Air Raid, and what are the other two names? I can't think of the other two names off the top of my head, but we get all four jets. And instead of doing Air Raid and Skydive, instead of doing those as individual molds, make them heavy retools of each other, like they did do later on with other figures. Awesome. There we go. So now we've only used 2 molds instead of 4 for the first figure. Okay? 2. Then you do Silverbolt, because Silverbolt was solid. No problems there. Ditch Prime. Just ditch Prime. Don't do the Prime yet. If you need to do a second Voyager, put in Motormaster. Because Motormaster was a good figure aside from his combined mode. And the truck mode was okay. But the robot mode was actually pretty cool. I liked it a lot. And I said that in my review of him. I liked that a lot about it. Alright, so now we've got the first wave of Deluxes, first wave of Voyagers done. Okay. Now, Voyagers don't sell that well as other figures. In my area, anyway. From what I see. And then they get into the shelf warming situation. Because let's face it, you've got the umpteenth Prime on the shelf. Kids don't buy umpteenth Primes for their collections. Yeah, you might get the parent here and there that says, yeah, let's get that. And you get the collector here and there that say, oh, yeah, I'll get it. Or you get people like me who are like, I guess I'll review it. Which is the primary reason why I bought it. But yeah, you won't have them clog the shelves. If they don't clog the shelves, then you can get second waves of those same Voyagers, or you can move on to the next set. Anyway, Wave 2, we'll do Minosaur for the Wave 2. So you do, don't do off-road, save that mold for later. So there's 2 molds that we saved. So we do the Drag Strip, do the Breakneck and, or Wild Rider and Dead End, and then Breakdown. So there's 3 molds for the Deluxes. instead of 2 like the Superion. So far we've saved 3 molds in my process. 4 if you count the Optimus, but we're using that same mold for Minosaur, so whatever. Alright, so now we're making some progress. Okay, so now we get into Defensor. Okay, you got the new mold with Hotspot. Okay, now we're releasing Hotspot. Release the Cyclonus too with Hotspot. Although I don't like it, I'm not really against it. Let's just release it. Actually, you know what? Let's not. Let's release. Let's go ahead and release. What's his name? Core Computron. You get what I'm saying. The core guy from Computron. Scattershot. Okay, now we're releasing Scattershot as a retool of Silverbolt. Okay, we got Scattershot and Hotspot. Okay, so now we go back to the original, similar to what we're doing. Now we use those 3 molds that we saved. Okay, so now we're going to make blades. Okay, so we got blades. And then instead of going with off-road, we're going to do what's his name? Instead of doing off-road, we're going to do first aid, because that was damn good figure. I miss that figure sometimes. Okay, so we got that. We're retooling one of the Stunticons into what's his name? The race car. My brain's not working. The police car. Okay, so now we're using 2 new molds, 1 reuse, and then snags, first aid, blades. Oh, and then we make a group. Okay, so now we've used those 3 figures, those 3 molds that we saved from not making figures that didn't need to be made earlier, and now we've used them to make a new Defensor, and we have all the characters so far. Okay, all right. So now, hope everyone's still following me here. Next week, Computron. Okay, we've already got Scattershot out, so now we make the rest of the Scattershot. There's a jet, so we retool one of the jets. There is a tank, so that'll have to be the drill thing, so that'll have to be a new mold. There's a motorcycle, so we'll retool Groove. And then there is a race car, so we'll retool drag strip. So yeah, plane, drill, motorcycle, and race car. Okay, and we'll use the breakdown mold instead of the dead end mold. No, we'll use drag strip. What am I saying? All right, so we get 1 new mold and 4 retools, including the Voyager, and you have Computron. All right, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 combiners all of a sudden. All right, now we have 5. We'll do Bruticus. Okay, Bruticus, pretty similar to what they're doing now. Only difference is we get 2 new molds. Okay, Brawn, or no, we get 1 new mold. Unless you could actually probably retool one of the jets heavily enough to make it a space shuttle. But we're not going to go that... No, we will go that route. We're going to retool them. There we go. Retool jet into Blastoff. Retool nose cone into Brawl. Retool first aid into Swindle, because it's SUV now. Turn more like a pickup truck. That would look cool. I'd be okay with that. And Blades obviously into Vortex, and then Onslaught from Hotspot. All right, so there we got another combiner. So we've got Superion, we got Minosaur, we got Computron, we got Defensor, and we got Bruticus. We got 5. Every one of these you can repaint for G2 colors, Root Nation colors, all those other, all those other colors. Hell, why not repaint Superion in the original Energon combiner colors? Why not? There's endless options for repainting these characters. Okay, but you got 5 figures there are remolds and repaints and reuses in these 5 lines. Okay? That would be cool. Now, let's talk about the fan built box, because that's a huge point of contention for me. I mean, my eye twitch. Anyway, actually, it's this side that's been twitching lately. I don't know why. Anyway, off topic. So let's talk about the fan built box. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a bad idea, because it's an interesting idea to get the fans involved in it. Okay, that's fine. Have them pick from the figures. Have them pick the characters. But most importantly, unless you're planning on either all new molds or intensive retooling, do not make the option of fembots. Because random dude number 5 is not a fembot. And I'm not saying that all females have to have the feminine shape, but these are definitely guy figures. I don't have any Combiner Wars figures at the moment, so I can't make an example out of somebody. But there's a huge difference in between, the male anatomy and the female anatomy, and I know some people are over there, but they're robots. Well, okay, have you watched the G1 cartoons? Because there's a big difference between the male robot anatomy and the female robot anatomy. Always been there, and for some reason, Combiner Wars, they didn't think about that. So, anyway. So there's that. But other than that, have at it. Could be cool. But make a reverse option of it to keep it fair. You know what I mean? If you make an Autobot set, make a Decepticon set. Just instant Decepticon set. I would love to have if you're going with one set that has a color scheme like those guys did with the Fembot. If you plan on doing that, great. But I would love to see an Autobot set that's like white and red. And then again, we gotta got that with the Fensor, but you know what I mean. And then do a Decepticon set that's black and purple. I'd like to see the aerial bots as Decepticons. I think that'd be cool. That would be a great concept. There's another great idea for repaints for these figures that aren't just like what the hell are they doing? Let's think about this. Originally, and it's pretty obvious too, but originally Superion was supposed to be Decepticon and Minosaur was supposed to be Autobots, but they decided to flip it at the last minute. I would like to see a what if Combiner Wars sets of Minosaur as Autobots and Superion as Decepticons. I would love that set. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Imagine, Seeker colors or something like that for the Superion. Yeah, they're not Seekers, but the Seeker colors. Something like that. That would be so much fun. So awesome. Alright, so repaints are endless. You don't have to make these Autobot characters that aren't supposed to be combiners into this line, unless you absolutely want to. So there's that. Okay. Now moving forward from there, let's talk about Bruticus, or not Bruticus, Devastator. Let's talk about Devastator, because I got some friends that are telling me, oh yeah, they should be this, or they should be this, or they should be this, and they're meant to be in Masterpiece Collection. Well, they're not Masterpiece figures, that's for sure. But then Takara is trying to tell us all that Superion's Masterpiece. Yeah, right. Stuff like that. Here's what they needed to do. They needed to either make this figure in Combiner Wars scale, because it's being sold as Combiner Wars. They either need to make it into Combiner Wars scale or make Combiner Wars scale into his scale. And quite frankly, if they would have scaled that set down to be, instead of Voyagers in one almost like Ultra class with the long haul, and scaled them all down to Deluxes with one Voyager, it would still fit in with Combiner Wars, and Devastator would still be bigger than the rest, depending on what your views on Devastator are. Because Devastator was bigger than Bruticus in the cartoon. Bruticus came up to about here or so. And so I'm okay with him being bigger. So if you would throw an extra deluxe into one of the Combiner Wars figures, yeah, he would be bigger. And those figures, exactly the way they are, if they scaled them down a little bit, would still look great. They would still look great. The mouth breather is Remus. He's hanging out downstairs. He's not getting along with the other dogs at the moment. Anyway, so they would still look good. As a matter of fact, I would say they would look better. You know, having those shortcuts like Scapper not having elbows. You know, stuff like that. Having a Voyager figure, I have a hard time forgiving that. I'm still going to buy it. I'm still going to review it. I'll try to be objective about it. But bottom line is, if it's a deluxe in a set like this, I would probably forgive it a little bit more. So they should have made it in a little bit better in that scale. And like I said, throwing an extra deluxe on the set would make it a little bit bigger. Not much bigger because you're taking out the feet because doesn't have the regular combiner ports for the feets. And so that would make him a little bit shorter, but then you add the extra deluxe in there and torso. And if this is just a deluxe, then maybe later on you could make a replacement for Hook as Prowl to be like the shoulder section and the head. So there would be your IDW option, which isn't entirely a bad idea. So that's my opinion on what they should have done with Devastator. They should have scaled him down, made him into the Combiner Wars line, sold them individually like they do everybody else. Just there's one more figure in the line, or maybe they shove the other figure somewhere else. And there you go. Voila, you're done. Now, as for the rest of the Combiner Wars lines, which, you know, all that's left are the figures that didn't exist in G1, like Rook and Off-Road and the helicopter, Alpha Bravo. You could release them. You could release them as repaints of the other molds. You know, you got your core sets done, so now let's start releasing them. You know, let's get creative with the figures that we are. Yeah, I would love to see a brand new combiner, just brand new combiner. And I'm not talking like fembots. Let's make a brand new combiner. You know, make Off-Road an Autobot, have Rook, Off-Road, Alpha Bravo, throw in another new one. We just repaint random bot number 7. You know, just pick one. Pick any bot out of there, repaint it, and throw it in there. Pick one of the torsos that hasn't been used too much, Minosaur being the key one there, Mortarmaster. Repaint him. Yeah, there's your white Prime or your regular Prime, and there you got a brand new set that's just new, fresh. You know, maybe Optimus does combine. Maybe he just was looking for certain characters that had to have a certain part of their spark that's a little bit different, that allows them to connect to a Prime rather than just random figures. You know, random Autobots. Like, hey, Ironhide, what are you doing? I've never combined before, but I think you look good as my leg. Just stuff like that. It bothers me. So that's how I would have done it. And then if we would have the resources to do it later on, I would definitely then, because if you've done right, you can make all the Beast Cons out of one set. You know, you can make a full set of Predacons and then repaint those into Terracons, because it would be pretty simple to switch out the lion head with the dragon heads for Hungar. So there you got Razor Claws and Hungar. Take Tantrum and retool him into Blot. Take Dive Bomb, switch him over to Cutthroat. Take Rampage, retool him into Center Twin, and Headstrong can get retooled into Ripper Snapper. There you go. There you go. And if retools are done properly, they'll look fresh because they will look different. They'll look like different types of monsters, animals, and then to monsters. So that would work. I still don't know how Predaking would get the wings done, just because the way Hasbro works. You might have to actually do a separate deluxe for that, but who knows. And then, then you could retool them into the Seacons. Or try to, I think you could do a pretty good, decent job there. You might have to make a new mold here and there. Now let's think about it. Hungar into Snaptrap. Okay. Cutthroat can go into Seawing. You got the little land shark thing, so that's pretty obvious. Can be Ripper Snapper. Blot can then get retooled into the Piranha Con thing, which was like a land fish type thing. And then Rampage maybe into the Lobster. Maybe. No, you're probably going to need to make a new mold for the Lobster. No way around that. And then from the Lobster, though, maybe you could retool that into the Squid. And then you got the full set. So 6 molds. 6 molds, 3 combiners. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Heavy retooling, but yeah, that's not bad. I'd take that. And then you have the whole set. And then maybe you could do, obviously, you do Dino King, then you can do Monstructor. And then maybe the Dinobots. Don't want the Dinobots combiners, but if you're trying to get the most use out of those molds, there you go. Or maybe you can make a few new molds and make Dino King out of the Predacons. Again, there's ideas there. And then the most critical part, the Legends figures. Put the tagline of Combiners on there all you want, but don't do anything with it. Just don't. Blackjack doesn't need to be torso or chest piece. We don't need a Legends hot rod. We don't. Stick with some characters that we really need. Instead of doing a mold of Blackjack, who we don't care about, let's get Kickback so we can finish the Insecticons before we start doing the deluxe Insecticon repaints. And so on and so forth, things like that. Instead of doing all these repaints and retools of the Optimus Prime mold, maybe we could do one new mold. I know new molds are expensive, but let's think creatively. Damage was done with some of them, but it's like, we could do. I think all the Autobots should be done or all the Autobot mini-bots should have been done in the Legends scale by now. I would like to see a reflector instead of that laser beak thing. Oh my god, that thing looks like trash. Instead of doing that, let's do a reflector. Then you don't even have to repaint it. Just sell bunches of them. Sell them by the case. I know I would have bought 6. Yeah, I know there's only 3 bots for reflector, but I still would have bought 6. Just to bolster the troops. So there you go. There is my thoughts on how they should have done Combiner Wars. And I think it would have went a little bit smoother. The G1 fans would have been more satisfied. The kids would still be satisfied because they're still getting the same toys. They're just better representations of the characters, if that makes sense. Rather than have an Ironhide that doesn't look like Ironhide, instead use that repaint and retool parts. And instead of doing that, then we could have Computron. How hard is that? Seriously. And if they, like I said, if they have the stick up their butts to make lots of repaints and stuff with these figures. Like I said, I would love to see an Autobot version of Minosaur, and I would love to see an Autobot version or a Decepticon version of Superion. You know, you can retool the heads to make them look more menacing, or at least the combined mode head. I think that would be great. You know, I'd rather see a Decepticon Silverbolt than, you know, which would be fresh take on the character than Silverbolt painted purple and called Cyclonus. That's just me. I would rather see off-road, or, you know, I'd rather see First Aid retooled into Swindle rather than Rook returned into Swindle, retooled into Swindle. I'd rather Swindle be an SUV or, you know, a pickup truck than whatever that thing is. So, I have no idea what's going on up there, but anyway, that's it. So what are your guys' thoughts? Am I crazy? Crazy genius? Or just genius? I'm kind of going more for a crazy genius idea. So that's what we're going for. Anyway, I guess that's it.